Hi. Welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Hi, I'm Ms. Steph, former laboratory scientist and former after-school director turned nonprofit founder. I am the executive director of Triple F Empowerment Inc., and we mitigate the various negative consequences of not providing proper hands-on STEAM education to young people. And so I'm super excited to be with you today. Hello. Thank you for joining Live with Ms. Steph. Hi, today is March 31st. We are finishing out March 2025, and I am going to do our weekly Science Club news, and then I'll go into telling you about how this bottle and balloon are going to turn into a hands-on STEAM education activity and what various things you can teach with those simple, and straightforward and relatively, hopefully, easy to access materials. Also, we'll be using our friend the Alka-Seltzer will make a return today. So let's hop right into our news. Like I said, today is March 31st, 2025, and I'm Ms. Steph. This coming Saturday, we are going to welcome everybody back to our Saturday Science Club adventures. We will be at Wadley. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, well, I'm about to tell you. We will be at Wadley on 114th Street in Harlem from 12, from 12 to 2 p.m. enjoying our STEAM enrichment experience, right? So on Saturdays, you can drop your child off ages 5 to 10, preferably feed them a snack in advance. If you need to, you can send them with a snack. It is a drop-off service, meaning you are able to drop said child off to enjoy the various stations that we have set up. We always explore all 5 letters of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Every session, every class, every camp, period, every field trip, we always make sure that we have some form of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics represented in what we're doing on that day. And guess what? There will be no difference when it comes to this Saturday, April 5th. All right? So join us, hop right in. If you have additional questions, send me a DM saying Saturday. Or send me an email for those of you who already have my email address. My email is mssteph@tfempowerment.org. I would love to hear your questions and engage with you on that. Additional things coming up. New York City's spring break. People, you know I like to highlight these things for you. New York City's spring break for Department of Education, okay? The DOE public school spring break is from Monday, April, or rather it impacts you, right? Because there's the weekend, but it impacts you Monday, April 14th to Friday, April 18th. Those are the days that the children are going to be out if your child goes to a DOE public school, all right? Some of our friends are coming back from spring break this week, tomorrow, okay? Some of our families are celebrating things today. It is a busy time. Spring is active. Spring is springing, y'all, okay? And in kind of nature news, I'm looking out my window. The leaves are starting to peek out, okay? Are starting to emerge from the branches on trees. And so it's that time of year. Super active, lots going on. And then, of course, as I've been mentioning, we have state testing coming up here in New York. It's different everywhere, but in New York, DOE schools are going to be doing state testing when we get back from spring break and all the way through. The last state test that they will take is going to be a science test if your child is in 5th or 8th grade. Keep in mind, children are testing. Here's your testing tips. We've already done the news, but now we're going from news as far as spring break and testing dates now into your testing tips. Please keep in mind that your child, 4th grade, 5th grade, 7th grader, or 8th grader is going to be doing a computerized version of the state test. If you have a 5th or 8th grader, they are taking 3 New York State tests. They will take an ELA test, they will take a math test, and they will take a science test. The science test, which y'all know I concern myself the most with, okay? As far as prep and all that type of stuff, the science test does not have a practical portion, meaning a hands-on portion, right? That has been phased out of the elementary school science test now that it's been moved back to 5th grade. For those of you who've been around a while in New York City, you know that the science test was originally a 5th grade test and that there was a social studies test, but that's neither here nor there. That being said, just be aware, help support your child in using computational devices, right? Going into other tips, last week I gave you all a bunch of tips about content, and we also talked about tips on just making sure that they're physically active and they're artistically active, right? Other things that you can do is content-wise, make sure your child understands the difference between solid, liquid, and gas, and how those changes happen. All right, we're going to do a little conversation today about a chemical reaction that will demonstrate solid, liquid, and gas, all 3 well-known states of matter. Notice how I say well-known states of matter, because there are other states, but there are 3 main: solid, liquid, and gas. Those 3 that your young person needs to be aware of. They need to know what's happening on a molecular level. And then the other content thing that I would mention as far as a tip, remember these are going into the tips, folks, for your New York State elementary level science test. I talked about the 3 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Remember, again, those are just the common ones. Those of us in science know that there are other ones, but like there's 3 main ones that they need to be aware of. How you change between states, know that that's a temperature thing. And the difference in each of those 3 main states is how the molecules are arranged. Okay? A solid, the molecules are tight and they are moving to a degree, but like very, very small. Okay? Very small movement. Liquid, they are still relatively close together. And they have a bit more energy. Excuse me. Now, a gas, they are as far apart from each other as they can possibly get. And they are moving around a lot. All right. Again, I'm going to demonstrate solid, liquid, and gas here. Another content thing that you're going to want to review with your child is the water cycle. I have water cycle videos from years ago and like recent ones, okay? Water cycle, states of matter. Review those things with your child. Those are things that you can be doing to support your child's success on these things. And then finally, I've mentioned this one before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it's a big one. Being able to interpret data, interpreting a bar graph in particular. There's bar graphs, and then there's also going to most likely will be some type of graph where there needs to where they will be need to interpret information on a United States map. Okay? Yeah, I know, but it's science, Mr. I'm letting you know now. I'm trying to help you. Okay? So those are the things. Today's tips for the science test. You need to, your child needs to know solid, liquid, and gas and the differences. Okay? Go back and watch earlier in the video if you want to learn them from me. But if you already know the differences, okay, fine. Go about your business. Then also the water cycle. Okay? Evaporation, condensation, which is the clouds, precipitation, any form of water falling, people. Yes. Okay, yes, I see you. Um, and then collection, y'all. Know these things. Okay? And then also how to interpret data on a graph and on a map. Super, super important. Okay? And yes, hello, Mr. Reynolds. Thank you so much for watching Live with Miss Steph. Hi. I'm on today. So I say we hop right into the activity because there's no reason to keep y'all too long. So we are going to do our things. So y'all know how I like to mix things up. Either give you very complicated things, or I like to be able to do things that you can, I kind of interchange them between things that are pretty complex and between things that are like simple and you can get the materials like from, you don't even have to go to the grocery store for this. This is like corner store type stuff in almost any neighborhood. All right, so this particular thing may be something that may be a bit harder to source for you, but an Alka-Seltzer tablet or an off-brand Alka-Seltzer doesn't have to be actual Alka-Seltzer. It doesn't. Okay? This is not a sponsored video. I just buy these in bulk, and so that's why I get the actual Alka-Seltzer, because they're relatively cheap to purchase in bulk. All right? You're going to get to experience the changes, okay? We're going to combine a liquid together with a solid. When we're talking about a solid, you are talking about something. See, this cup is a solid. This is a solid. This is a solid. It holds its shape and its volume, the amount and its shape. A liquid takes the shape of the container, but see, it holds its same amount. Like it's not changing the amount, okay? A gas is going to expand to take up all the space of the container and take the shape of the container, all right? So once again, our tablet contains the chemical that we're going to use, okay, to react with our water, all right? Water can come in solid, liquid, or gas form, okay? Recently, there's a whole conversation about things going on extraterrestrial-wise, another form of water that's scientists have observed via the James Webb telescope. Okay, so that's for another time. But on Earth, water is typically in those three states, right? Solid, liquid, or gas. All right, we are using liquid water. Yes, water is a chemical. Okay, so we've got, this is your average soda bottle. Nothing special. This is basic balloon. All right. So we're going to demonstrate a chemical reaction. Okay. You see the things that you need for it. Okay. We are expanding the bottle. I mean, sorry, not the bottle, but the balloon. Right? The gas is now filling up not only the bottle, because the bottle, you can feel the gas, right? There's pressure there, okay? And it's expanding the balloon. Not a lot, okay? So the tablet dissolved, it combined with the water, and it produced gas, okay? CO2 gas, by the way, is the gas that's produced by this particular chemical reaction, all right? We got that. Now, a variation, because you know I'm team variation. I mean, because why not, okay? A variation on this, we're going to do this very quickly. Another thing that's relatively easy to get, you can grab some vinegar. We're going to use the same amount of vinegar that we used as water, right? Okay? And we know that vinegar is an acid. So we're actually increasing the acid concentration. Okay? Because the Alka-Seltzer, by the way, is made up of sodium bicarbonate, also known as baking soda, citric acid, and some aspirin. Okay? And so we know that citric acid and baking soda, when they react together, and I say we know because y'all have seen my videos where I've demonstrated that, they react together with water to produce CO2 gas. Now, let's see what happens when we have vinegar. Okay? Though it looks like water, it is actually a different chemical, acetic acid. Okay? And table vinegar has a certain percentage of acetic acid in it. Okay? Balloon. You can grab the balloons from the dollar store. Okay? Or from like the party aisle. Doop. Okay? So let's see if we get any difference. I don't know if you noticed the reaction is going a little bit faster. Also, there's significantly more bubbles down here. But is it going to produce more gas? Let's find out. Uh-oh. Again, this fizz is going longer, and it's a significant amount of fizz. You see how much more fizz we're getting? Okay. This balloon has deflated slightly, right? It expanded to a certain amount, and then it deflated. Okay? Slightly. Okay? But these two, okay, that's our variable. Remember, when we do variables, we only do one variable. Okay? And the variable was, we changed our liquid. Okay? One liquid was pure water. This liquid is vinegar, which, by the way, has water and with acetic acid dissolved in it. And I want to say it's like 3 or 4% acetic acid in. They used to market. I don't see it. I'll have to look it up. 5%. That's what it is. 5%. Okay? So yeah. The two balloons expanded, okay? Because of the gas, right? So today's activity helps you demonstrate chemical reaction, and also you get to, your young person or young persons, right? Because you know I'm always giving you things that you can try at home, at your elementary school, at your after school, at your daycare site with your students to help them connect and understand science on a deeper level. And so, yes, to build those building blocks for them to be able to learn science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Y'all, these are our 2 samples, and that's pretty much it. I will see you on Saturday for Saturday Science Club. And actually before that, on YouTube, join me for our weekly Thursday live. I would love to hang out with you and tell you more. I'll be giving an update throughout the week on our garlic samples from last week, y'all, as well as more tips and state testing hacks. Alrighty, it's been awesome hanging out with you. Thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. Have an absolutely wonderful day.